Hello, this is our presentation on the rabies disease. I am Mac Rickardson.
I'm Kelton Fortune.
Jessica Llamas.
The etiology, rabies belongs to the species Rabies virus, genus Lysovirus. The rabies virus is caused by the lysovirus that spreads through the saliva of infected animals. The lysovirus also includes Lagos bat, Mulcula virus, Duvenha virus, European bat virus 1 and 2, and Australian bat virus. The rabies virus affects the central nervous system and can cause inflammation of the brain. Lysovirus attaches to the host cell membranes, penetrates the endoplasm, and begins replication in the host cells. Lysovirus are a genus of RNA virus that are single-stranded, negative sense, and unsegmented. It is an enveloped virus that contains spikes and are bulleted shape. Lysovirus is relatively large at 130 to 250 nanometers in length and 60 to 100 nanometers in diameter. Some special features of the rabies virus is that they form from inclusion bodies known as negre bodies. These negre bodies are where the virus actually replicates itself. This is important because in diagnosing rabies, they look at the cells post-mortem and confirm their negre bodies present. The reservoir, all species of mammals may be a reservoir for rabies. However, there are a few that are more common than others. The more distinct carriers of the rabies virus are the following mammals: bats, raccoons, skunks, foxes, and coyotes. However, this is not an all-inclusive list of all the animals that can be reservoirs for rabies. Humans may also be a reservoir for the rabies virus. In locations where animals are vaccinated for rabies, it is primarily just an issue with wild animals, whereas countries that don't have a vigorous rabies vaccination strategy can experience it more with domestic animals as well.
Rabies is transmitted from mammal to mammal. It is most commonly passed through a bite. While this is most common, there are other ways the rabies virus can be passed on. Other ways include contamination of mucous membranes, such as eyes, nose, and mouth. Also by aerosol transmission, and in rare cases, organ transplants.
For signs and symptoms, as soon as the rabies virus enters the body, the virus moves towards the brain along nerves. The first symptoms are nonspecific and resemble other infections. They include pain or tingling at the bite site area, a general feeling of illness, headache, nausea, and depression. The first signs of rabies are vomiting and fever. As the virus multiplies in the spinal cord or brain, neurological symptoms might appear, such as the following: anxiety, agitation, confusion, hallucination, insomnia, paralysis of the lower legs, and difficulty swallowing. The latter signs would be excessive salivation and hyperactivity. Eventually, an infected individual with the rabies virus can slip into a coma and die. Rabies doesn't cause death by destroying the neurons or causing inflammation to the brain, but causes exotoxicity, which overstimulates the brain and causes cells to die.
Prevention before exposure to rabies. Rabies is 100% preventable in humans. Some things that we could do is to prevent it as to avoid direct contact with wildlife when outdoors, especially in areas with wildlife. We should also avoid feeding wildlife and also supervise small children and pets when outside. We should also educate others. Many people do not know how preventable rabies is. People that are high risk should also be vaccinated, like veterinarians, animal handlers, rabies lab workers, spelunkers, and rabies production workers. People who are also running into possible rabid animals should be vaccinated. For the vaccinations, there are 3 doses. To prevent rabies in animals, we should always vaccinate our pets. We should maintain exposure to wildlife. We should spay and neuter our pets so we can reduce the amount of unwanted pets that might be cared for improperly or not vaccinated. We should also call animal control when stray animals are seen that may be unvaccinated or ill.
These are the steps to take post-bite. It is important to remember to act quickly. Your chances improve the sooner these steps are completed from the time of the bite. The first thing you should do is wash the wound immediately with soap and water. Next, you should see a doctor. Here, the doctor can treat the trauma due to the attack and determine what further steps need to be taken. The next step is to start vaccination protocol PEP. This consists of a regimen of 1 dose of rabies immune globulin and 4 doses of rabies vaccine over a 14-day period. The immune globulin and the first dose of vaccine should be administered soon after being exposed. The additional doses should be given on days 3, 7, and 14.
Interesting facts. A rate of 1 person in every 10 minutes die from rabies a year in Africa and Asia. That is about 55,000 people a year. Washing the wound immediately is life-saving. Incidents come from uncontrolled rabies and dog bites and neglected areas with limited access to health care. Children have a higher risk from rabies because they are more likely to get bit by dogs and could be exposed severely with a lot of bites on their body. According to 2017, Japan has been free of rabies since the early 1950s. There were several large-scale epidemics which occurred before and after the dog rabies vaccine became available. The first epidemic from 1914 to 1921 did not have a dog vaccine available, but controlled it by capturing stray dogs and tethering pet dogs. During the second epidemic from 1922 to 1933, there was a mass dog vaccination during the second epidemic. After these vaccination campaigns and capturing stray dogs, rabies was finally eliminated in Osaka Prefecture in 1933. Remember, rabies is 100% preventable. Thank you for watching and listening.